If you were given some money today to invest, where would you invest? In my opinion, I think you have three choices today. Number one, you could go into a very short-term, low-risk investment and take that 5% yield or interest payment that those investments are paying you today. And we have a chart to show that. We can pull up the US 2-year Treasury. Some people will say, you know what, that same investment idea was paying 1-2% just a couple of years ago, and it's paying a lot more today. So I'm going to move some money into a US Treasury, play it safe, low risk, no problem. Canadian bonds, Canadian government bonds, are not paying as high as US, but they too are paying higher rates. You could buy a money market mutual fund, so low risk, paying close to or in and around 5% as well. So option today, play it safe, buy something that's going to pay you 5%. Second option that you could have would be going with or investing in some of the ideas that took this market higher for the first 7 months of the year. We call them the Magnificent Seven. And we can show our chart on NVIDIA again. They were part of the Magnificent Seven. And these are the big cap tech names. These are the biggest tech names in the world that powered the market, led by NVIDIA, higher and for the first 7 months. Microsoft, Apple, you could even throw in AMD, Google, Meta, Amazon. All these names, I think if you would have owned them or if you purchased them at the end of last year, you would have done quite well. So the question is, if you had money today to invest, do you go back to what has worked for the first 7 months of the year? Do you risk the fact that maybe a lot of the good times or the better times have gone by already? That maybe the best days for these stocks have already happened? So that's the risk of buying into a sector like the tech sector, but specifically some of these big tech names that have already had tremendous runs. Or third, perhaps you buy some value names, some names that haven't worked as yet, some of the names that haven't really gone significantly higher. And we have a bunch here. I call them value investments, but you could call them what you will. They are growth names. First one we have is Caterpillar. Now, Caterpillar is a little different because, as you can see, has gone significantly higher. A lot of people don't talk about Caterpillar, but it's had a fantastic run. Maybe you continue to buy Caterpillar with this idea of the United States continuing to spend money on infrastructure. Caterpillar has done extremely well in 2023. A name like Deere & Company, so the company that produces the tractors and the big machinery, primarily for the farming industry. We can see here after Deere reported earnings recently, stock fell quite a bit. Used to trade in that 430, 440 range, now down well below 400. So maybe this is a name you want to buy because really, if you look at it since the start of the year, it's up, but perhaps it has a lot more to run. Another name here on our list that I've put is Nike. Now, everybody knows Nike. We all, I'm sure, have owned a pair of Nike running shoes or some sort of sports equipment or jerseys or something over the years. Nike is interesting because it just went through, or in the midst of, I think it's had like 8 to 9 trading days in a row of negative. So they've been down 8 or 9 days in a row. And so you can see that Nike, just trading above $100 a share, definitely has not participated in the rally. And I think a lot of that has to do with their business over in Asia, especially China. As China comes back and starts to do better, I think you'll see that reflected in the stock price for Nike, because China is a very big market for Nike. So maybe you want to go into a value investment like Nike. The next one I have here is Home Depot. Now, Home Depot is interesting because it too has had a pretty good run, although you could see on the far right-hand side of this chart, kind of a bit of a double top there, and it has pulled back a little bit. Keep in mind, Home Depot used to be over a $400 stock a few years ago, so well off their previous all-time highs. But right now, just struggling under the weight of this notion that the economy is slowing, that people won't stop or at least slow down their spending, and they won't spend as much on their garden or on their home. I happen to disagree. I think Home Depot is a great idea, especially when people aren't turning over their homes, selling their homes, buying new homes as often at the present time due to higher interest rates. They're going to stay in their existing homes and perhaps freshen them up, do things to their existing homes, renovate, make things a little newer and better. And where else do you go to fix up your home? Home Depot. So I think Home Depot is a great idea and a value idea. So just to recap, if you have money today, where do you want to be? Well, you can go into short-term bonds paying 4.5%, 5%. You could go into high cap tech names. You can go into the Magnificent Seven, as I've called them in the past, the biggest tech names, the biggest companies in the world, the names that took us to 52-week highs in July. Or you may want to go more into things such as value names, those names that haven't gone up as much as yet, but yet you believe at some point will have a good future.